And you're kicking it off, Shayna.
All right, give me just a second. I'm moving a little bit faster than my computer is, so I apologize. That's quite disturbing how slow this is. Okay, good evening. Please be aware that the first hour and a half of this meeting will be recorded so that we can put it onto our website, our podcast, and our YouTube channel. We record in audio only. Feel free to use the podcast on our website along with your big book as a resource if you missed the study portion of the meeting. The study portion is also listed on the website so that you can follow along. Ooh. And tonight's recap will start on page 144 and end on page 147. And our study tonight will start on page 147 and end on 150. And I sent private chats to our readers. Do we have any announcements?
Hi, family. My name is Jamie. Very grateful, recovered alcoholic, and good to have all of you with us tonight. I just came back from second quarter assembly in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, as the DCM for district, and it was a magnificent assembly, and I will give you all the details in at Group Conscience. But one thing I do want to share with you real quickly, because of what this group does, and as you know, we take grapevines that have staples in them and we sew them together to go into corrections through the grapevine and corrections committee. And one of our members of Area 64 wrote this beautiful letter to Area 64 Assembly about how helpful all of this has been to not only her but the ladies that are in the same correctional facility that she is. And I just want to let you know how grateful and how blessed I am that this group does the things that it does to help the newcomer, to help those who are incarcerated, to help those who are in treatment. So that will be coming up at our next Group Conscience here in a couple of more months. So thank you for all that you do, folks. And that's really it for announcements. And good evening, family. My name is Jamie, very grateful, recovered alcoholic, and welcome to the Lppbbsg Primary Purpose Big Book Study Group. To prepare for our Big Book study, let's get focused by having a 3-minute moment of meditation followed by our family's fog light prayer.
And I'm a recovered alcoholic, and my name is Shayna. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to start the meditation in a minute, so please take a moment to get situated.
Please be aware of background noises when you're unmuted and sharing is not to distract others or yourself. We suggest we all observe proper Zoom etiquette. If you wouldn't do it in a live meeting, please don't do it here. A friendly reminder, absence of profanity offends no one. Please keep yourself muted during someone else's share. We will call on you in the order that hands are raised.
From the foreword to the first edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, we of Alcoholics Anonymous are many thousands of men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, to show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book and of this group.
For the meditation, some suggestions are: focus on your breath and posture, breathe in God, and breathe out self.
Take this time to reconnect with God. Let the craziness of the day drift away and ask God to help you focus on the study.
And let's invite the monks in to do what the monks do so well, and enjoy your time with God, folks. And for those of you who wish, our family's fog light prayer is on your screen in front of you if you'd like to join us. Fog light prayer. God, let your love shine through us like a fog light, so that those that are lost, sick, and dying can find your love through us. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. And let's have our secretary's report. Susan?
Hey everybody, my name is Susan and I'm your recovered alcoholic secretary, and I've asked Art to read the recovered statement. We read this notice to explain why many people in this group identify as recovered rather than recovering, and what it exactly means to be a recovered alcoholic. Take it away, Art.
Good evening, friends. My name is Art. I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic. Recovered. We are not cured. I gotta get where I can see it. We are not cured of alcoholism. Recovered but not cured. That presents a conflict to some alcoholics. If we were cured, we would be able to drink responsibly. No, we are not cured. The allergic reaction to alcohol will remain with us for a lifetime. But we have been restored to sanity. That was the problem. The main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than in his body. Page 23. We are now sane where alcohol is concerned. Consequently, we have recovered.
Thank you, Art. Thank you for joining us tonight. We meet every Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. Central Time with the Gerbil Fellowship page, where we chatter for an hour before the start of the meeting. Feel free to bring side dishes to share with the buzzards. Our Big Book study starts promptly at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and we ask that you be courteous and ready to begin at the sound of the foghorn. We take our Big Book study seriously because of this. Chat will be disabled during the study. In the 1940s, when the only elements to sobriety were God, the Big Book, and one recovered alcoholic working with an untreated alcoholic, the success rate was as follows. From the forward to the second edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, page XX, Of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried, 50% got sober at once and remained that way. 25% sobered up after some relapsed, and the remainder of those who stayed on with AA showed improvement. Can we have the show of hands of people joining us for the first time? Okay, see the hands. Okay. Then the recovered alcoholics. These are your potential sponsors. Is anyone celebrating a milestone this week? Okay. If you should require a big book of your own, we have large print editions available that can be sent to you by buzzard mail. Delivery time, questionable. Please remember to practice our 7th tradition by donating to the group address, Venmo, or PayPal posted in the chat on the screen. Our suggestion is to purchase a big book and take an untreated alcoholic through the program of recovery. Please visit our website in the chat. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, Susan, and good to see you. Let me get back to my script here. From Chapter 2, there is a solution. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news this book carries to those who suffer from alcoholism.
This is an open meeting, and as such, all who have an interest in alcoholism and our program of recovery are welcome. Because this is an open meeting, you need not identify yourself nor your reason for being here if you do not wish to do so. Your anonymity will be protected. We ask that you protect ours.
While this is an open meeting, membership in this group is limited to those who wish to recover from alcoholism and have a desire to stop drinking for good and all. Each member of Alcoholics Anonymous is a potential sponsor of a new member and should clearly recognize the obligations and duties of such a responsibility.
All right, and before we begin our study of the Big Book, last week we reviewed Tradition 9. Tonight, let's take a quick look at Tradition 10. Please refer to page 562 of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I welcome in our traditionalist, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa, and I'm your traditionalist for this week. Tradition 10, the short form. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. And let's see, the long form. No AA group or member should ever, in such a way as to implicate AA, express any opinion on outside controversial issues, particularly those of politics, alcohol reform, or sectarian religion. The Alcoholics Anonymous groups oppose no one. Concerning such matters, they can express no views whatever. So, in my research, I found a great story that related to something I'm trying to do in my own life recently. So, I'd like to read it. Sassy Pearls of Wisdom. When I sat down at my very first meeting, I was 4 days sober and miserable over the wreckage I was causing myself and others. I was comforted to see the 12 steps on the wall, but surprised to see the traditions. I had never heard of them before. When I read them over, Tradition 3 made me feel welcome. Tradition 5 made me feel hopeful. But Tradition 10 is what really blew my mind. It said, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Whoa, what a brilliant idea. I thought to myself, I instantly saw how I could use this in my day-to-day life. Imagine if I had no opinion on outside issues. The wreckage I had made had a lot to do with my big mouth and edgy opinions. My life's mission had been to fix everything because I always knew best. This drunk had all the answers, and I was determined to let you know it. But strangely enough, people weren't grateful for my sassy pearls of wisdom. Who knew that people don't like being talked down to? I always ended up hurting others and myself by trying to force my ideas on the world and the people around me. I knew my amends list would be long, but I became determined to stop it from growing, here and now. And Tradition 10 was the key. Anytime I felt the urge to control someone, I repeated this mantra to myself. I have no opinion on outside issues. It helped me to keep things to myself instead of piping up whenever I wanted. Suddenly, I wasn't hurting so many people anymore. Was it hard to practice? You bet. But practice makes progress. And today, 3 sober years later, I no longer feel the desire to control everything. My way is not necessarily better than everybody else's. I have no business sticking my nose where it doesn't belong. In fact, I've been using Tradition 10 as another serenity prayer, accepting the things I cannot change. I still love to help people, especially when it comes to carrying the message of AA, but now I know that I can't force my experience on you. I've learned the difference between helping and controlling. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Excellent, excellent. Well done. Thank you for your service tonight. And now it's time for our weekly segment of That Ain't in the Book. We hear a lot of stuff said in meetings that can't be reconciled with the program as described in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. One of the things we often hear is there are no musts in the program. So Pickle Chips is going to come in and tell us what it has to say on page 85 in the 3rd paragraph.
There we go. Hi, I'm Pickle Chips, recovered alcoholic. It says, but we must go further, and that means more action.
Thank you, Terry. Shayna, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here enjoying the meeting. All right, as we study, please make use of the pens, highlighters, and rulers so that you can share this experience with another alcoholic.
In order for us to stay focused as we study the Big Book, we use the Big Book study guide prepared by Joe and Charlie and Krusty Cliff of the Dallas Primary Purpose Group.
And tonight we're going to start our recap on page 144, which will be read tonight by Kenny, and followed by our study portion read by Donald. After the page is read, we will ask questions from the imaginary podium, starting back on our study portion that was read by Donald. The answers will be one sentence unless otherwise specified, and multi-part questions are simply a one-sentence answer, split up by commas, semicolons, hyphens, and other fun bits of punctuation.
Basically, in English, what that means is we are going to read the material once through and then dissect the information a second time through the question and answer format. Notice how the language in the question gives us a new light in which to consider the studied material.
This is important because hearing the question and rereading the content offers a definite way of comprehending the material covered. After we've completed the study, we open up for comment, questions, and observations based on what was just read. If you have spiritual experiences with this information, you are free to share. Please keep your share on topic in under 5 minutes. At the 5-minute mark, you may hear a timer beep to let you know that your time is finished. or wrapped up. If you're in the middle of a thought, of course, continue to finish.
However, Big Book study is not therapy. Should you begin sharing on topics which are more appropriately discussed in a different setting, for example, with your sponsor, please do not be offended when we cut that conversation short and send the buzzards nipping at your heels. For that purpose, we have fellowship meetings before and after our study time.
You can never go wrong by commenting on the pages studied, which brings us to the words of one of the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous. Sobriety, freedom from alcohol, through the teaching and practice of the 12 steps, is the sole purpose of any Alcoholics Anonymous group.
Thank you, Shana. And how we arrived at this point, folks, we didn't just wake up today and say, well, we're going to study the last couple of pages in the chapter to employers tonight. This is a 94-week Big Book study. We start at the title page where we find our very first promise, the story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. And we use this format through the entire 94 weeks. Through the preface, the forewords, every page, line by line, is how we use this. Throughout the study, in the first couple of months, we are directed to go to the spiritual experience 3 different times. And as we finish off the study, we will be going into the final chapter, chapter 11, next week. And when we are done with that chapter, we will spend about I want to say 6 weeks on Dr. Bob's Nightmare. We will spend 2 weeks on the 12 traditions through the question and answer format. And we will go back on week 94 and visit the spiritual experience one final time, and then we'll circle around back to it. I'd also like to mention that this coming Sunday, April 6th, will be our 5th year as a 100% virtual group. So we will be celebrating our 5th anniversary. In the time that we have been doing this, we have also, as a group, developed the website. We have podcasted the meeting. We've started a YouTube channel, and we have become a registered group and done much work within Alcoholics Anonymous beyond the group level. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your participation and support. And I forgot to mention that in announcements, next Monday night on the 7th, we should be doing our 4th step workshop again. So if you have never been to our 4th step workshop, by all means, please come and join us. It is very thorough, and we take you through the step-by-step process of going through it. We also have 3 other meetings a week. So by all means, please come and join us. And Terry's getting a head start to be one of the 6 hands that we need for readers. Oh, you have a question, Terry?
Yes, I have a question. When are we celebrating? You said we're going to celebrate.
Well, why don't we do that next Tuesday before we start the meeting?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, just don't want to miss a party.
Okay. Might even break out the cupcakes. So, Shana,
Okay.
you have one more thing to read before our readers come in.
I do. So before we start the recap, we'll need 5 or 6 virtual hands raised if you'd like to be one of our answer readers. And then again, please be aware that the first hour and a half of this meeting will be recorded so that we can put it onto our website and our YouTube channel. Okay, I see 3 lovely hands. And Penny, would you like to start us off with the recap from last week?
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Kenny, recovered alcoholic. On your employee's return, talk with him. Ask him if he thinks he has the answer. If he feels free to discuss his problem with you, if he knows you understand and will not be upset by anything he wishes to say, he will probably be off to a fast start. In this connection, can you remain undisturbed if the man proceeds to tell you shocking things? He may, for example, reveal that he has padded his expense account or that he has planned to take your best customers away from you. In fact, he may say almost anything if he has accepted our solution, which, as you know, demands rigorous honesty. Can you charge this off as a would-be bad account and start fresh with him? If he owes you money, you may wish to make terms. If he speaks of his home situation, you can undoubtedly make helpful suggestions. Can he talk frankly with you so long as he does not bear business tales or criticism of his associates? With this kind of employee, such an attitude will command undying loyalty. The greatest enemy of alcoholics are resentment, jealousy, envy, frustration, and fear. Wherever men are gathered together in business, there will be rivalries, and arising out of these, a certain amount of office politics. Sometimes the alcoholic has an idea that people are trying to pull him down. Often this is not so at all, but sometimes our drinking will be used politically. One instance comes to mind in which a malicious individual was always making friendly little jokes about an alcoholic drinking exploits. In this way, he was slyly carrying tales. And in another case, an alcoholic was sent to the hospital for treatment. Only a few knew of it at first, but within a short time, it was billboard throughout the entire company. Naturally, this sort of thing decreases the man's chances of recovery. The employer can many times protect the victim from this kind of talk. The employer cannot play favorites, but he can always defend a man from needless provocations of unfair criticism. As a class, alcoholics are energetic people. They work hard and they play hard. Your man should be on his mettle to make good. Being somewhat weakened and faced with physical and mental readjustment to life, which no alcoholic he may overdo. You may have to curb his desire to work 16 hours a day. You may need to encourage him to play once in a while. He may wish to do a lot for others. Alcoholics and sometimes of the sort may come up with during business hours. A reasonable amount of latitude will be helpful. This work is necessary to maintain his sobriety. After your man has gone along without drinking for a few months, you may be able to make use of his service with other employees who are giving you the alcoholics runaround, provided, of course, they are willing to have a third party in the picture. An alcoholic who has recovered but holds a relatively unimportant job can talk to a man with a better position. being on a radically different basis of life, he will never take advantage of the situation. Your man may be trusted. Long experience with ex- alcoholics excuse naturally arouse suspicion. When his wife next calls saying he is sick, you might jump at the conclusion he is drunk. If he is and is still trying to recover, he will tell you about it, even if it means the loss of his job. For he knows he must be honest if he would live at all. He may appreciate knowing you are not bothering your head about him, that you are not suspicious, nor are you trying to run his life, so he will be shielded from temptation to drink. He is consciously following the program of recovery. He can go anywhere your business may call him. And in case he does stumble, even once, you will have to decide whether to let him go. If you are sure he doesn't mean business, there's no doubt you should discharge him. If, on the contrary, you are sure he is doing his utmost, you may wish to give him another chance. But you should feel under no obligation to keep him on, for your obligation has been well discharged already.
Thank you, Kenny. Excellent. And Donald, you ready to come in with tonight's study?
Oh, I suppose so. Good evening, afternoon, everyone. My name is Donald, and I am a grateful recovered but not cured alcoholic. And so this continues where Kenny left off. There is another thing you might wish to do. If your organization is a large one, your junior executives might be provided with this book. You might let them know that you have no quarrel with the alcoholics of your organization. These juniors are often in a difficult position. Men under them are frequently their friends. So, for one reason or another, they cover these men, hoping matters will take a turn for the better. They often jeopardize their own positions by trying to help serious drinkers who should have been fired long ago, or else given an opportunity to get well. After reading this book, a junior executive can go to such a man and say approximately this: "Look here, Ed, do you want to stop drinking or not? You put me in a spot every time you get drunk. It isn't fair to me or the firm. I have been learning something about alcoholism. If you are an alcoholic, you are a mighty sick man. You act like one. The firm wants you to get over it, and if you're interested, there is a way out. If you take it, your past will be forgotten, and the fact that you went away for treatment will not be mentioned. But if you cannot or will not stop drinking, I think you ought to resign." Your junior executive may not agree with the contents of our book. He need not, and often should not show it to his alcoholic prospect. But at least he will understand the problem and will no longer be misled by ordinary promises. He will be able to take a position with such a man which is eminently fair and square. He will have no further reason for covering up his alcoholic employee. It boils right down to this: no man should be fired just because he is an alcoholic. If he wants to stop, he should be afforded a real chance. If he cannot or does not want to stop, he should be discharged. The exceptions are few. We think this This method of approach will accomplish several things. It will permit the rehabilitation of good men. At the same time, you feel no reluctance to rid yourself of those who cannot or will not stop. Alcoholism may be causing your organization considerable damage in its waste of time, men, and reputation. We hope our suggestions will help you plug up these sometimes serious links. We think we are sensible when we urge that you stop this waste and give your worthwhile man a chance. The other day, an approach was made to the vice president of a large industrial concern. He remarked, "I'm mighty glad you fellows got over your drinking, but the policy of this company is not to interfere with the habits of our employees. If a man drinks so that his job suffers, we fire him. We don't see how you can be of any help to us. As you see, we don't have any alcoholic problem." The same company spends millions for research every year. Their cost of production is figured to a fine decimal point. They have recreational facilities. There is company insurance. There is a real interest, both humanitarian and business, in the well-being of employees. But alcoholism, well, they just don't believe they have it. Perhaps this is a typical attitude. We who have collectively seen a great deal of business life, at least from the alcoholic angle, had to smile at this gentleman's sincere opinion. He might be shocked if he knew how much alcoholism is costing his organization each year. That company may harbor many actual or potential alcoholics. We believe that managers of large enterprises often have little idea how prevalent this problem is. Even if you feel your organization has no alcoholic problem, it might pay to take another look down the line. You may make some interesting discoveries. Of course, this chapter refers to alcoholics, sick people, deranged men. What our friend, the vice president, had in mind was a habitual or whoopee drinker. As to them, his policy is undoubtedly sound, but he did not distinguish between such people and the alcoholic. It is not to be expected that an alcoholic employee will receive a disproportionate amount of time and attention. He should not be made a favorite. The right kind of man, the kind who recovers, will not want this sort of thing. He will not impose. Far from it. He will work like the devil and thank you to his very dying day. Today, I own a little company. There are 2 alcoholic employees who produce as much as 5 normal salesmen. But why not? They have a new attitude, and they have been saved from a living death. I have enjoyed every moment spent in getting them straightened out. And see Appendix 4. We shall be happy to hear from you if we can be of help.
Excellent. Thank you, Donald.
You want me to read Appendix 4?
Yeah. I think. Am I getting the thumbs up?
Why not? Me.
Sure.
That's 5.
And is that 6? Appendix 6?
Is that 6? Oh yeah, it is 6. How to get in touch with the AA. In the United States and Canada, let me see, how long is it? Yeah, it's just 1 page. In the United States and Canada, most towns and cities have AA groups. In such places, AA can be located through the local telephone directory, newspaper office, or police station. or by contacting local priests and ministers. In large cities, groups often maintain local offices where alcoholics and or their families may arrange for interviews or hospitalization. These so-called intergroup associations are found under the listing AA or Alcoholics Anonymous in telephone directories. What are those? At New York, USA, Alcoholics Anonymous maintains its National Service Center, the General Service Board of AA, the trustees, administers AA General Service Office, AA World Services, Inc., and our monthly magazine, the AA Grapevine. If you cannot find AA in your locality, visit our website, www.aa.org, or a letter addressed to Alcoholics Anonymous Box 459, Grand Central Station, New York, 10163 USA, and you will receive a prompt reply from this World Center referring to the nearest AA group. If there is none nearby, you will be invited to carry on a correspondence which will do much to ensure your sobriety no matter how isolated you are. Should you be the relative or friend of an alcoholic who shows no immediate interest in AA, it is suggested that you write the Al-Anon Family Groups Incorporated, 1600 Corporate Landing Parkway, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 234545617 USA, website alanon.org. This is a world clearinghouse for the Al-Anon family group, composed largely of the wives, husbands, and friends of AA members. This headquarters will give the location of the nearest family group and will, if you wish, correspond with you about your special problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Oh, no, I can honestly say I don't think I've ever fully read that page, so I do appreciate that. All right, so I see 4 hands. Can I get any more volunteers? Maybe 1, 2, to be our answer readers. Yay, thank you. All right, in tonight's batting order, I've got Terry, Billy, Lisa, Larry, Steph, and Art. All right. And so we will ask questions from our script by Joe and Charlie and Krusty Cliff. The answers to the questions will be sentence by sentence coming directly out of this week's study, beginning with the first sentence and ending with the last one. If those answering questions lose their place, please allow the question reader, me, to direct them to the correct sentence. All right. Let me pull up. All right, Terry, you are up. First question. Oh, and for our readers, make sure you're unmuted, if you can. All right, Terry, is there something else you might do?
There is another thing you might wish to do.
Excellent, thank you. And Billy, who else might benefit from this book?
Okay, I got lost.
That's okay, it's the second sentence, page 147. I'm sure it's not the second sentence. Hang on.
If your organization.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yes. If your organization is a large one, your junior executives might be provided with this book.
Thank you. And Lisa, what message do you want to pass along to them?
You might let them know you have no quarrel with the alcoholics of your organization.
Excellent, thank you. And Larry, where do junior executives find themselves sometimes?
These juniors are often in difficult positions.
Right? And Steph. Often the men who work under them prove to be what else?
Men under them are frequently their friends.
Yeah, that's true. And Art. Therefore, the junior executive might be tempted to do what?
Looks like Art bounced.
You go, Art. Well, we'll skip him for this round. Maybe he comes back. Terry, can you take that question? I'll read it again. Therefore, the junior executive might be tempted to do what?
So, for one reason or another, they cover these men, hoping matters will take a turn for the better.
Thank you. And Billy, in what situation may they be placing themselves?
They often jeopardize their own positions by trying to help serious drinkers who should have been fired long ago or else given an opportunity to get well.
And Larry, did I skip you? No, I don't know. I skipped you last time. I think I got you.
Lisa.
I skipped Lisa?
Let Shayna handle it, folks. Let Shayna handle it.
No, you're right. Thank you. Lisa, in what situation may they be placing themselves?
After reading this book,
Oh wait, I am so off. You're right. The question is, after the junior executive has read this book, what may he be able to do? And this is 2 sentences. Thank you, Lisa, for keeping me on track, and Larry.
After reading this book, a junior executive can go to such a man and say approximately this: "Look here, Ed. Do you want to stop drinking or not?"
Excellent. Thank you. And Larry, this is also 2 sentences. You are putting me in a what?
You put me on a spot every time you get drunk. It isn't fair to me or the firm.
Excellent. Thank you. And Steph, I have learned something about what?
I have been learning something about alcoholism.
Yes. Did Art come back? I didn't see him.
No.
No. This is her. Okay. Back to you, Terry. This will be a 2-sentence answer. I must tell you that if you are alcoholic, you might be what?
If you are an alcoholic, you are a mighty sick man. You act like one.
And Billy, what does the firm want to do?
The firm wants to help you get over it, and if you are interested, there is a way out.
Excellent. Lisa, a 2-part question, but 1 sentence still. So what will we be willing to do if you are willing to try this program? And we will keep what confidential?
If you take it, your past will be forgotten, and the fact that you went away for treatment will not be mentioned.
Excellent. And Larry, but if you want to keep on drinking, you had better do what?
But if you cannot or will not stop drinking, I think you ought to resign.
That's right. And Steph, what may your junior executive not agree with?
Your junior executive may not agree with the contents of our book.
Yes. And I don't see Art back on there. I'll wait till you turn your camera on and I'll come back to you. Terry, what should he maybe not do?
He need not and often should not show it to his alcoholic prospect.
Right. And Billy, what might he have learned?
But at least he will understand the problem and will no longer be misled by ordinary promises.
Yes. And Lisa, it will enable him to treat the employee how?
He will be able to take a position with such a man which is eminently fair and square.
Yes. And Larry, from what will it free him?
He will have no further reason for covering up an alcoholic employee.
Right. And Steph, what does this boil down to?
It boils right down to this. No man should be fired just because he's an alcoholic.
Right. Did I see Art popped out again?
He's not here, Shayna.
Oh,
Just go on.
Okay. Of course. Terry, if he wants to stop drinking, what should he be given?
You're muted, Terry. There you go.
Yeah, I'm using my space bar. If he wants to stop, he should be afforded a real chance.
Thank you. And Billy, exceptions to this rule are what? Oh, wait, excuse me. I missed the question again. That's not the right one. If that is not the case, what should you do?
If he cannot or does not want to stop, he should be discharged.
Thank you. And Lisa, exceptions to this rule are what?
The exceptions are few.
And Larry, we think this approach will do what?
We think this method of approach will accomplish several things.
Okay. And Steph, first, it will permit what?
It will permit the rehabilitation of good men.
Yeah. And Terry, at the same time, you will find what other benefit? Oh, Terry, you're muted, honey.
Sorry, now my space bar doesn't work. At the same time, you will feel no reluctance to rid yourself of those who cannot or will not stop.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. And Billy, what might alcoholism be doing to your business?
Alcoholism may be causing your organization considerable damage in its waste of time, men, and reputation.
Yeah. And Lisa, what do we hope our suggestions will do for you?
We hope our suggestions will help you plug up this sometimes serious leak.
Yes. And Larry, we believe we are being sensible and doing what?
We think we are sensible when we urge that you stop this waste and give your worthwhile man a chance.
Excellent. Thank you. And Steph, what happened the other day?
The other day, an approach was made to the vice president of a large industrial concern.
Ooh. Terry, even though the vice president was presented with information which could profit their company greatly, what was his response? Can you please read the next 4 sentences?
Sure. He remarked, "I'm mighty glad you fellows got over your drinking, but the policy of this company is not to interfere with the habits of our employees. If a man drinks so much that his job suffers, we fire him. I don't see how you can be of any help to us. For as you see, we don't have any alcoholic problem."
And I have a comment for you. Unfortunately, this situation continues today in our so-called enlightened times. On page 20, behind them is a world of ignorance and misunderstanding.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. And Billy, what does this company do with some of its money? This
Okay.
same
The
company?
same company spends millions for research every year.
Yes, thank you. And Lisa, are they concerned with the cost of doing business?
Their cost of production is figured to a fine decimal point.
That's right. And Larry, what benefits have they provided their employees? 2 sentences, please.
They have recreational facilities. There is company insurance.
Yes. And Steph, do they display a real interest in their workers?
There is a real interest, both humanitarian and business, in the well-being of employees.
Yes, thank you. And Terry, of what do they believe they are free?
But alcoholism, well, they just don't believe they have it.
And Billy, how may this attitude be classified?
Perhaps, or you want me to, okay, start more than one sentence?
No,
Perhaps this, oh, just the one. Perhaps this is a typical attitude.
Yes, thank you. And Lisa, what is our inward feeling toward these views?
We, who have collectively seen a great deal of business life, at least from the alcoholic angle, had to smile at this gentleman's sincere opinion.
Thank you. And Larry, at what would he very likely be shocked to learn?
He might be shocked if he knew how much alcoholism is costing his organization a year.
Yes. And Steph, what may be true about their payroll?
That company may harbor many actual or potential alcoholics.
Yes. And Terry, what knowledge may top executives be lacking?
We believe that managers of large enterprises often have little idea how prevalent this problem is.
Yes. And Billy, even for those certain they have no problem drinkers on hand, what might prove to be profitable?
Even if you feel your organization has no alcoholic problem, it might pay to take another look down the line.
Yes. And Lisa, what may you find?
You may make some interesting discoveries.
Yeah. And Larry, who does this chapter refer to?
Of course, this chapter refers to alcoholics, sick people, deranged men.
Yes. And Steph, what sort of person was the vice president thinking of?
What our friend the vice president had in mind was the habitual or whoopee drinker.
Thank you. And Terry, this is a 2-part question, still 1 sentence answered. How would his personnel policy apply to them, and what is he unable to distinguish between?
As to them, his policy is undoubtedly sound, but he did not distinguish between such people and the alcohol.
Yes. And Billy, the alcoholic employee should not receive what?
It is not to be expected that an alcoholic employee will receive a disproportionate amount of time and attention.
Right. And Lisa, he should not be what?
He should not be made a favorite.
And Larry, how will recovered alcoholics respond to this type of treatment?
The right kind of man, the kind who recovers, will not want this sort of thing.
Right. And Steph, he will not do what?
He will not impose.
And Terry, what will he do instead? 2 sentences, please.
Far from it. He will work like the devil and thank you to his dying day.
Yes. And Billy, today, Hank owns what?
Today, I own a little company.
Yes. And Jamie, do you have a comment?
No,
No.
I don't have one on my script. Is there one there? Go ahead and read it.
Sure. This is a reminder that the chapter 2 Employers is Hank P's personal story. Also, this is the only chapter in the book not written by Bill W.
Obviously, that one didn't get updated.
Okay. And I think I'm on Lisa. Lisa, this is a 2-part question, but still 1-sentence answer. How many employees does Hank have? But what do they do?
There are 2 alcoholic employees who produce as much as 5 normal salesmen.
Yes.
One. Oh.
And was that? Oh, I'm sorry. It was just the 1 sentence. Okay. And Larry, this is a 2-sentence answer, but still just the 1 question. Why would they do that?
But why not? They have a new attitude, and they have been saved from a living death.
Yes, thank you. And Steph, you get the final question. What has Hank enjoyed?
I have enjoyed every moment spent in getting them straightened out.
All right.
See Appendix 6.
And then in the comment, do you have that one, Jamie?
No?
No? Okay, it says, see Appendix 6. We shall be happy to hear from you if we can be of help. And then it says, Appendix 6 gives us the information to contact Al-Anon, which we all heard about earlier. So yay! Thank you, everybody. And this will open up our sharing portion. If you have experience with the portion of the book that was just read, please feel free to share. Please be mindful of your time and that others may have their hands raised and are waiting to share. A friendly reminder as we share, absence of profanity offends no one. All right. Comments, questions, observations, spiritual experience based on what was just read. Who's going to be our first taker? Because I have no hands. Yay! I got 1. Thank you, Larry. Can you come in? Oh,
Yeah, I'm Larry, and I'm an alcoholic. You know, I reading this chapter. I'm reminded a lot about you know, how you know, even though this was back in the, well, you know, the earlier years, you know, from anywhere from the 30s to the 50s, you know, even in the fourth edition in the 70s. And you know, even today, as was already stated, a lot of our companies are still ignorant about alcoholism. And you know, in our committee, I'm not involved in it as much as maybe I am, but I am interested in what they do. CPC, the Committee for Professional, you know, community, you know, getting the information to our professionals, our doctors, and it could even go even further into our companies, you know, how to get the word out into people's hands of the disease of alcoholism, because people still have the feeling that it's a stigma. It's just a weakness of alcohol. You know, why don't they just stop drinking? How many times have people told us that? Why don't you just stop drinking? Why don't you just stop? And we've even asked ourselves that. I know myself, I asked myself, why can't I just stop? And when I came into this program and I began, I was told, through the doctor's opinion and through the stories, and I found out that I actually had a disease, and there were reasons why when I first took a drink, I couldn't stop. And there was a reason of why my thoughts and my thinking was the way they were. But not only did it give me reasons why I was the way I was, but it gave me a solution to the problem that I had. And if people today could hear that not only that maybe their employee has a problem, but they could also have a solution, how much better their workforce could be. Because when I was in the workforce, had I understood and had I really believed I could get better, I probably would have wanted to get better, but I didn't. I didn't want to. But part of the reason is I didn't believe I could. And so I made myself believe that I didn't want to. And if we could get people to really know that they can, there is a way out, I believe a lot of people might take it. And if we can get that message out to the professional community and the workforce, I think, because it took a lot of money to train somebody in my profession. They could fire me, but it would take a lot of money to put somebody else in the short-term jobs that I was in. The job would be over by the time they could train somebody else to take my position. That's all I got.
Thank you, Larry. Very well said. Are you all going to make me come in? Oh, Billy. Yeah, come on in.
Hey, everybody. I'm an alcoholic. My name's Billy. This is a great read, and I haven't read this particular chapter in a while. But I really enjoyed reflecting back on it. And I thought I'd give you the alternative funny, because nobody I work with has ever seen me drink. So they really, they take it at face value when I joke with them, because somebody was like, "Yeah, you gotta come out, you gotta go have fun with us next weekend. We're gonna do this thing," and I'm like, "Nah, you ain't ready for that." And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, because I bring the blue lights." The ones that go like this on top of cruisers. And they kind of chuckled, but I don't think they believed me. And today at work, we all know what today's date is, right? We're all in the same side of the planet. Now, my boss called out sick yesterday, and she beat me by 30 minutes, because if she hadn't, I would have. But in any case, today she was feeling better. She was at work. And we're getting our computers fired up and getting ready for the day. And I just dead-faced looked at her and I said, "I'm sick of this shit. I quit." She froze. I mean, she absolutely froze. And she looked at me and she goes, "You mean you're retiring?" And I let her settle on that for a minute. And then I went, "April Fools!" And she was so relieved. And I was so humbled, because I could pull that joke off. And then we had to hurry up and get our April Fool's joke put out in the window for the kids and everybody else to enjoy. We did a Chicken Little thing in the window. So, but that wasn't always the way my supervisors or employers looked at me. Okay? And I really didn't expect her to be that emotionally affected by it. So I guess I'm not going to retire. I will go back to work in the fall, although I've been thinking about it for a few months. But I mean, her reaction, what am I going to do without you? I'm going to need 3 more people to do what you do. And that those people just don't exist. So, whoops. So we both had a good chance to see that from different sides, and that was kind of cool. But I saw that look on her face, and she definitely doesn't want me to go anywhere for a while. There you go. That's the other side of not getting fired.
Thank you, Billy. All right. Anybody want to jump in? Well, I can jump in. I want to say tonight what stood out for me, I'm Shayna, recovered alcoholic. Tonight what really stood out for me was Tradition 10. Lisa, excellent job on that, because I even had to write it down. No one needs to hear all my pearls of wisdom on everything. And today I don't have to or get to control the conversation or the situation. And my opinion is not, it is exactly that. It is my opinion. I'm not an expert on everything. And, people don't like to be talked down to or and I can see it sometimes when outside issues are brought up in family. It puts that block between, our connection. And, I like how we can use the tradition not only with each other within the group, but we can also take it outside and apply it to our own lives. because I think that's part of my isms, my alcoholism. The alcohol was but a symptom, and then I get left with me, and I got to figure out how to behave with society and family and relationships. And if I can only behave here when I'm in a meeting, it's not going to really serve me. So I really do appreciate that. I think that's all I have to share on for right now. Maybe I'll come back in on the rest of the study. Can I grab anyone? All right, Jamie, you smiled first, so those are my rules.
Not my rules either. Hi, family. My name's Jamie. Very grateful, recovered alcoholic. And I love this chapter. And as I have said throughout the study of it, is that I have been on both sides. I have been the employee and I have been the employer. But I'm going to touch a little bit on what Larry was talking about, CPC, Cooperation with Professional Community, which happens to be a panel that I sit on, and I'm treasurer of that committee at Assembly. And there's two phases to it. There is inward and there is outward. And we do the inward for those who want to become servants in this area. And this is an area where we are likely to give up our anonymity as well, because we are working within a professional community, and that's perfectly fine. We just at Assembly, going into Assembly, we spent the last several weeks creating an inward PowerPoint. Now you can go to aa.org and go to the literature section, resources, and you can look at all the information that CPC has to offer. And if it's work that you're interested in, it will be very, very helpful. So we worked on this PowerPoint to present to those who are wanting to be of service in this area of their lives, just to give them an understanding of what CPC is, what CPC does. And CPC officially became a committee back in 1970, but this work has been going on since Bill Wilson first got sober. So it's very important to what we have to do. Eventually, I don't know that I will be in the committee at the time for next year, but we want to create an outward-facing PowerPoint as well to be presented to those professional communities that we try and go to and get involved. For example, some of you are nurses, and some of you may be rocket scientists, and others are in other professions. And as we know, no matter what profession that you're in, alcoholism can run very rampant. So the goal with this committee, while it is not affiliation, it is to help give those professionals a better understanding of what alcoholism is, so that they can be helpful within their communities. Now, something that we have today in most companies that we didn't have back in the 1930s and 40s is most companies have health insurance plans that recovery is part of that plan. Oftentimes it will cover detox or treatment or whatever, and we try and do these things. Maybe some of the professional communities we don't think of are law enforcement, military, fire, any kind of corporation whatsoever. So there is much work to be done here, and as my sponsor would say, we have 100% of the work to be done in Alcoholics Anonymous, and we have 90% of the people that are willing to let 10% of the people do that work. It is really a very small community that provides such services, but I can tell you in my own experience that it is very worthwhile. And I will post a flyer in the chat because on May 17th, and it will be hybrid, we will be having a PI, Public Information, and CPC workshop in District 40 and 41. So I invite all of you to come and join us and see what it is that we do beyond the group. It is a joy and honor to be of service. And if it wasn't for you guys allowing me to become your GSR a few years ago, I never would have gotten into this kind of work. And today my life is completely rewarded because of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. I look forward to seeing that flyer personally. All right, who's gonna smile now? Oh, Gemma, come on in.
I love it when people are happy that I volunteered to talk. That's very rare. Thank you, Shana. I have the slogans going through my brain right now, and admittedly, I don't know if it's PTSD or what, but whenever the readings go, I have a really hard time keeping up. But it's improving. And I know that one person's reading from a different book and the other, everybody else is reading from the blue book, and I get that. So I'm trying to follow along, but as most of you guys know, my father was murdered, and then my house burnt down, and my grandmother died. My grandfather was thrown out on the streets and then missing. And then I had a heart attack and was hospitalized. And it just kept going like that, you know? And then one by one, things came together. You know, I lived in a tent and I worked at a job, and nobody knew that I was homeless, didn't have running water or anything like that. And I did that for years. And when I hear these readings and I hear other people going through struggles and having a job that has passion, I can't help but be reminded of my job. I was fortunate that I continued to get raises and opportunities, and then one day they found out I didn't have a running water or a shower, and they offered me to use the showers at the campground that we have here, and they said I could bring my dogs to work anytime, and they love my dogs. And you know, I've got a lot of years of sobriety, but the support is unmatched. And then a little over a year ago, one of our units came available, and I was able to rent it and move my grandfather in. And the thing is a lot of you guys know I've come in here crying and just completely train wreck, right? Carrying the mess, but I needed to dump it here so that I wouldn't be that person that goes and quits my job or cusses my boss out or says I quit and walks out, because there are a lot of dry drunks at my work. And they're good people, they're real good people, but they don't got a program. And I can tell you that when I vent in here, it saves me from walking off my job, because I wouldn't have the house I have, the opportunities I have, and the blessings I have, and the saying, don't give up 5 minutes before your miracle. I just got a clean checkout for my heart. And I don't need to go to the heart doctor. I don't need any medication, and I don't need anything. And, you know, I've been dealing with my heart issues for my whole life, and my heart is good, you know. And yesterday I got the mail, and we got a packet for my grandfather, and he's going to get 100% VA benefits. Finally, he's 84 years old, and he's finally going to get his medical taken care of. And you guys know the story there too. Most of you heard me complaining and be beeping about the VA. But like I said, when you do the reading, I'm able to keep up a little better, you know, and I don't know if it's the years of sleeping on the ground or the heart attack or because of the way my brain works, but, you know, in a past life, I was funny Jamie said it, I made bombs. I worked at Texas Instruments. We don't make just calculators, I'll tell you that. And we made, I worked in weapons and missile defense. And I used to be really smart. But anyway, back to gratitude, you know. That's what the reading gave me was when you get an employer that will work with you around your alcoholism. I'm sober, but I have isms. I get impatient, I get pushy, and I don't say anything, but it's internal, you know? And they operate different than me, you know? So I'm grateful that I have this job. I'm grateful that I have the bosses that I have. They teach me so much about my own self and my character and my defects and my strengths too, you know? But anyways, thank you for letting me share. I'm getting better. I know one of these days I'm going to be able to keep up with you guys. I just know it. Anyways, thank you so much.
Thank you, Gemma. I do understand that, and how I actually started to really catch on was by doing service. That was the best way to really grasp it. All right, Trish, come on in.
Hi everybody, I'm Trish, I'm an alcoholic. And you know, when I had the job where there were a lot of heavy drinking, and one or two people court ordered to go to meetings, I was so insecure in myself, in my ability at work, and in my program that I wasn't really willing to share with anybody what was going on in my life, and that I had a possible solution for them if they were interested. A few people knew, but I wasn't comfortable enough sharing it with those who really needed to know. Fast forwarding to today, there's more people at my current job who know that I'm in AA than in any other job that I've had combined up until this point, because I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable with where I am in my program, with my job, with my life. And, you know, I don't see a whole lot of drinking at work. I'm not in a position where we go out and we socialize a whole every now and then. Are there people who drink? Yeah. Are there people who drink heavy? A few. But there's probably two handfuls of people at work who know that I'm in the rooms. I'm willing to talk, whether it's coworker, whether it's people who come in and out of our building. Anybody that they know who's looking for help. And, you know, I want that to be available at my workplace, where I work, and in the whole company as a whole, overall. Because it's important to give people that chance. Yeah, we have a HR department, we have benefits that would cover if anybody goes to detox. But even if anybody does need to or chooses to, what do they do after that? And the people I work with know I'm willing to be a contact if that ever happens with anybody. And, you know, that's such a far cry from where I used to be, from where I was. Because I'm more comfortable in my sobriety, in my own skin, in my job, more secure with my God, who I know has put me right where I am, doing exactly what I'm doing. And I wouldn't have this job, I believe, if it wasn't for AA. Because when I look back and when I follow the path that I got here, it's a God thing. And it was the trust in God, which I learned in here. And I've got to continue to trust that God moving forward to help another person. to be available to someone, whether it's at the building I work at, another building, teacher, student, staff, whoever. I want them to know that there's help out there. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, Trish. Well, it is 9 o'clock, but we still have folks that haven't raised their hand. Shall we go ahead and pray out for the first half and then stick around for everybody that hasn't had a chance to share? And we'll turn off the recording here.
We can do that. 1 second. Let me get back to the script.
Oh, Terry.
I just want to thank everybody. That was a fabulous meeting. And Trish, you just helped everybody. You're just the go-to person, and I so appreciate that. And appreciate Lisa's tradition. That was great. That was a really nice story or whatever little thing. So I didn't share because I share the same story every time we do this. And everybody but Sarah has heard it. So you know what though? I want to say is the whoopee party. I always get to read that part, but Steph got it tonight. So way to go, Steph. Whoopee party. Okay, I'm ready. That's all I got.
Thank you, Terry.
Not to be confused with Bob Eubanks saying whoopee on, what was it, the Newlywed Game?
That's right.
So,
oh, you're aging yourself, Jamie.
I was going to say your age is showing.
That's okay. I wear it well.
Yes, you do.
Okay, from our big book, page 164, and this is where we find our 12-step prayer. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. You get the prayer, Shayna.
And I get the prayer. Okay, thank you. I was waiting for my cue. All right, and tradition for Lewisburg Primary Purpose, we get a moment of silence for those that are still sick and suffering. And then we hold our hands in the screen. And this is our way of holding hands with one another, because we are not all in the same state, same zip code, same time zone even sometimes. So, and who will take us from shame to grace if we let him?
Our Father,
Our Father,
who art in
heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be
Thy
thy
kingdom come,
Thy
thy will be done,
Thy
on
will
earth
be
as
done.
it is in
On
heaven.
earth as it
Give
is
us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day
Forgive us
our
our
daily bread,
trespasses,
and
as we
forgive
forgive
us our
those who trespass
trespasses,
against
we
us.
forgive others who
Lead
trespass
us not into
against us.
temptation,
And lead us
but
not
deliver us
into
from evil.
temptation,
For
but
thine
deliver
is
us
the
from
kingdom,
evil.
the
Kingdom,
power, and
the
thy
kingdom,
glory,
and the power,
forever
and
and
the
ever.
and
Amen.
forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, because your birthday.
Stick around if you want to share.
Sorry about that, guys. I had a delivery.